The garage door was open. That's what I noticed first. Standing in my kitchen, coffee already going cold in my hand, I looked through the window above the sink and just stared. The door was rolled up, and the space inside, where he always kept it, was dark and empty. Dennis never left that door open. Never. 43 years of marriage, and he never once left that door open overnight. But Dennis was gone 8 months now. I set my coffee down. The mug clattered, a sound too loud in the morning quiet. I walked toward the back door, and when I opened it, the cool spring air hit me. It was warm for April. The kind of morning Dennis would have been out there already, bent over that beautiful car, a rag in his hand, humming some old classic rock tune. I crossed the yard. The grass needed mowing. I kept meaning to call someone about that. The concrete was cold under my bare feet. I'd come outside in just my slippers. The familiar dark oil stain in the center of the garage floor was the only thing there. 20 years of the same car sitting in the same spot leaves a mark, but the spot was empty now. Just empty. I stood there, looking at nothing. My chest went tight, the kind of crushing tightness I hadn't felt since the day I lost him. I put my hand on the doorframe and forced myself to breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 43 years as an ICU nurse, and I still relied on those same basic calming techniques. Breathe, think, act. But I couldn't think past the gaping hole where the Shelby Mustang should have been. I walked to the workbench. It was exactly how Dennis had left it. His tools hung on the pegboard, each one meticulously outlined in black marker so he'd know where it belonged. His red toolbox sat closed, and his work journal lay open next to it, pages filled with his small, careful handwriting. The last entry was dated 3 weeks before he died. Almost done. 20 years on this beauty. Can't wait to teach Carol to drive her properly. Our retirement road trip starts next summer. I closed the journal slowly, putting it back exactly where it had been. The garage still smelled like him. Motor oil and old leather and that orange hand soap he used. I could almost hear the music from his old radio. I was lost in that memory, that scent, that pain, when I heard a car engine outside on Oakwood Drive. Brian's black BMW pulled into the driveway. Leased, not bought, he told me at Christmas, as if I should be impressed by a temporary luxury. My son got out of the driver's side, 38 years old, and he still wouldn't look me in the eye when he knew he'd done something wrong. Even from across the yard, I could see it, the way his shoulders hunched, the way he shoved his hands deep into his pockets. The passenger door opened, and Vanessa, his wife, stepped out. She was perfect, as always. Hair smooth and dark, designer sunglasses, clothes that likely cost more than my monthly Social Security check. She stood beside the car, watching me, standing in the empty garage. Brian walked toward me, stopping at the edge of the driveway. "Mom." He cut me off. "Where's the car, Brian?" His jaw tightened. "That's what I need to talk about. Where is it?" "I sold it." The words landed, but they didn't make sense at first. It was like he'd spoken in a foreign language and my brain needed a moment to translate the horror. "You... what?" "I sold it yesterday. I needed the money. Vanessa has been planning this Paris trip for months. It's important for her business connections. I couldn't let her down." The tightness in my chest was spreading, my hands shaking uncontrollably, so I crossed my arms to steady them. "That was your father's car." It was just sitting there. His voice went defensive, harder. "Dad's gone, Mom. You don't even drive it. Was is past tense." He finally looked at me. His eyes were red, tired. "I got a good price for it, too. $15,000. That's fair for a car that old." $15,000 for a car Dennis had spent every weekend of 20 years restoring, piece by piece, for a car he'd promised would stay in the family. I wanted to scream, wanted to grab him and shake him until he understood the magnitude of what he'd stolen. But the ICU taught me to keep my voice steady even when everything inside was breaking. When did you take it? Yesterday afternoon, you were at the store. He still had his key, the one from when he lived here before he met her. Dennis always left the garage unlocked. You should have asked me. Would you have said yes? No, I wouldn't have. Vanessa walked up then, moving like she owned the driveway, the yard, the whole street. She stood beside Brian and placed a perfectly manicured hand on his arm. Her nails were red and flawless. Carol, we're not discussing this. It's done. The car is sold. We leave for Paris tomorrow. I looked at her, really looked at her. I still didn't know her, not after 2 years of marriage to my son. I didn't know where she grew up or anything real about her life. She smiled a lot, but it never reached her eyes. This is between me and my son. I'm his wife. What's between you and him is between all of us. Her voice was pleasant, reasonable, like she was explaining something simple to someone slow. Brian needed that money. The car was sitting unused. It made perfect financial sense to sell it. It was his father's, I insisted. His father is dead, she said, flatly, matter-of-factly, and Brian is trying to build a life. We both are. Surely you understand that. I didn't trust myself to speak. Just looked at Brian. He avoided my gaze. Vanessa's hand stayed on his arm, possessive, a subtle anchor. We'll send you photos from Paris, Vanessa said, smiling. You'd love it there. The architecture, the museums, very romantic. The casual cruelty of that comment was a deliberate blow, like she knew exactly what she was doing. Brian shifted his weight. We should go. Still need to pack. Yes, Vanessa agreed, tugging his arm gently. We have an early flight. They walked back to the BMW. Brian glanced back once, just a flicker, catching me standing there in Dennis's empty garage, my arms crossed, wearing my slippers. Vanessa's window rolled down. Take care of yourself, Carol. We'll see you when we get back. The black BMW backed out of the driveway and drove away. I watched until it turned the corner. Then I was alone. I went back into the garage, stood in the center where the oil stain was. The silence was different without the car, emptier. The morning sun lit up the dust motes floating in the air. I picked up Dennis's journal again, reading his words about our retirement road trip. His coffee mug was still on the shelf, stained and worn. Everything was here, his tools, his bench, his radio, everything except the car. The space where the Shelby should have been looked like a deep, jagged wound. 8 months of being a widow, and I thought I'd cried all the tears there was, but standing there, the realization of Brian's betrayal hitting me fully, they came again. I locked the garage, turned off the light, and walked back to the house, clutching the journal.
The phone rang at 7 in the morning. I'd been awake since 4, sitting at the kitchen table, reading the same page of Dennis's journal over and over, the one detailing the replacement of the carburetor. The phone kept ringing, an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Mrs. Bennett? This is Tom Graves, from Graves Classic Auto. I have your husband's car. I sat up straight. What? The Shelby. Your son brought it in Wednesday. I need you to come to the dealership, please. Right now, if you can. There's something Dennis wanted you to know. My brain struggled to process the contradiction. The car was sold, but this man had it. I don't understand. Dennis was my friend, a good friend. His voice cracked. I was at his funeral. I should have spoken to you then, but I couldn't. I'm sorry. Please, Mrs. Bennett, can you come? I vaguely remembered him. A man standing in the back of the funeral home. Gray hair, dark suit. Where are you? He gave me the address, an industrial area on the east side of town. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I got dressed in jeans and a sweater, grabbed my keys, and drove across town. my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. The industrial area was all concrete and metal buildings. I found Graves' Classic Auto at the end of a long street. The building was clean, modern. Rows of vintage cars sat in the front lot, gleaming in the early sun. A man stood outside the main entrance, gray hair, maybe 65, watching for me. "Mrs. Bennett, thank you for coming. You're Tom, yes?" "Yes, I'm Tom Graves. Your husband saved my life 25 years ago." He looked down, took a deep breath. "I needed a business loan. Had a dream of opening this place. No bank would touch me. Bad credit, no collateral. Just a dream and a lot of nerve. Dennis co-signed for me. Risked his own credit and savings for a stranger. I paid back every penny. But the debt went deeper than money. This dealership exists because of him. I've been successful. Built a good life, all because your husband believed in me when no one else did. He never told you. He wouldn't have." Tom wiped his eyes. "When your son brought that Shelby in Wednesday, I knew it the second I saw it. Dennis talked about that car constantly. Car shows, auctions. He'd show me pictures on his phone. He was so proud. My son said he sold it. He did. To me." Tom looked sick. "Your son had no idea what he was selling. I asked him if he knew the value. He said 15,000 sounded fair." My stomach dropped. "What's it really worth, Tom?" "Around $180,000. It's a documented 1967 Shelby GT500, one of 2,048 ever made. Dennis restored it to museum quality." The number didn't compute. $180,000? "Yes, ma'am. Brian sold it for 15. Yes. I sat down on the curb. Just collapsed there. Tom sat next to me. We stayed like that for a minute. "Tom bought it from him," he finally said. "Paid him the 15,000 because he was desperate. Said something about a Paris trip with his wife. But, Mrs. Bennett, that car was never mine to keep. That's why I called you, because Dennis made me promise 2 years ago." Tom stood, held out his hand to help me up. "Come inside. There's something you need to see." He led me through the building to a massive, bright garage. 3 cars sat in a row under covers. Tom stopped at the last one and pulled the cover back. The Shelby sat there, gleaming, burgundy paint perfect, chrome shining. I walked toward it slowly, putting my hand on the hood. The metal was cool and smooth. I could feel Dennis in every line. I opened the driver's door, sat in the leather seat. It smelled like the garage at home. Tom leaned against the doorframe. 2 years ago, Dennis asked me to help him install something, a hidden compartment. Why? He said if anything ever happened to him, I needed to make sure you knew about it. Made me swear. Tom pointed to the dashboard, behind the radio. He said this was for you and only you. My heart was pounding. Tom showed me how to release the panel. Press here, pull there. The radio face came away, revealing a dark, hidden space. Tom stepped back, walking out of the garage, leaving me alone. I reached into the compartment. My hand touched paper. I pulled out a manila folder, thick and heavy. Under it was a sealed envelope with my name on the front and Dennis's careful handwriting, and a small wooden box with a key inside. I opened the envelope first. "Carol, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I didn't tell you while I was alive. You would have wanted to handle it together, and I know that, but I needed to protect you from this until I had proof. I've been investigating Vanessa for 18 months. She's not who she says she is. Her real name is Vanessa Cortland. She's done this before, twice that I've found so far. In this folder is everything I've gathered. Photos, documents, contact information for her previous victims. Their stories are the same. She targets men with aging parents and family assets. She's going to target our house, Carol. That's her pattern. She'll convince Brian that you're declining, that you need care, that the house should be sold. Then she'll disappear with the money. I confronted her once, carefully watching her reaction. She's very good at what she does. Brian doesn't see it. He won't believe me without ironclad proof, and I don't have it yet. The key in this box is for our safe deposit box at First National, box 447. Inside are stock certificates I bought in 1994 as a favor to a patient. Check the current value. You're taken care of financially. Tom knows to call me if anything happens to this car. He's a good man. Trust him. Protect yourself. Protect our son. He's a victim in this too. I love you. I'm still protecting you. Dennis.